Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alexander from Brightfield Studios here with another episode of Let's Play Foundation. So previously when we left off, we were trying to get this fancy wooden keep up and running so we can train soldiers and send them off to fight for king and country, or at least for me. And our first soldier here, Marjorie, who has clearly not grasped the rules of physics, the laws of physics, is already protecting the scaffolding that will be soon her wooden keep. Meanwhile, on the construction side, we are doing swimmingly. We have some of the houses already popping up, and they have plenty of space to expand on. In addition to that, our woodcutters have the resources they need to move on. And now with the lumber camp done, we can finally assign Pierre and Edith to the role of being woodcutters, so they no longer have to be unemployed. Congratulations, Pierre and Edith, for graduating hobo school and finally being able to produce something and be of use to this glorious nation of Brightfield. Other than that, I think we are doing rather well, so I'm going to speed things up here. We are doing okay on the money side. We're just going in zero, and our happiness is slowly increasing. We don't have any actions to do, and our only quest is to build a wooden keep. We're getting another villager. Welcome. Please. I hope you have legs. There you go. Welcome to our humble town. However, we will be rising to become a local superpower soon, so it's wise to join in early while the stocks are cheap. Our church here is slowly being built, and as we noticed, the Lord Manor is now done. We got this nice weather vane going, which actually spins a little bit with the wind. That's cool. Our granary is currently just being used for berries, but soon we'll be getting other foodstuffs prepared, and they will be stored in the granary. Our warehouse is doing well. It's got all of its slots covered and being a useful buffer here. I was thinking that maybe we can, once the wooden keep is done and no longer pulling on plant resources, we can start looking into trading said resources, because Northbury is actually in the buying of planks, which would be a useful source of income for us, so that we can compensate for the trade that we are doing for buying tools, because currently we are not self-sufficient in making our own tools, and we need to get there soon, because we do not want to be dependent on anyone else, especially not on those scumbags from Northbury. But then again, they trade in fair prices, so we'll have to be trading with them for now. If we look on our workspaces here, I'm thinking that maybe the next thing we should look into would be probably strengthening our production line of, I know that we'll be unlocking clothing soon, and I think that will be definitely the direction we want to be headed. Food may be useful once we get more villagers going, although that currently seems to be okay. People's needs are being met. We don't have any actions that we need to do. Once the month ends, we'll be able to promote some of our villagers, which will be very useful once their needs rise, so will their demands, and we will have to satisfy them. Let's see, one villager has decided to join. Have we gotten ourselves that villager just yet? Yes, Julianne. Welcome, Julianne. You shall play the role as our 3rd or 6th woodcutter. And I think that there's also a lady joining us, who I can't click on just yet. She's not part of the fold, but once she joins our crew here, she will be accessible, and we can find out what she can help us with here. So things are going swimmingly, I feel. We don't really need to. We have quite a bit of stone, and maybe that's because we have quite a lot of people working on stone. But it's great to have a little buffer going, even though I can't really sell it. It would be great if Northbury could get stone, but they only want polished stone, and that requires an additional building in between to upgrade here. So promotions are available. Let's slow things down here and look into promotions. So we got 390 gold to spend. And promoting villagers to commoner level costs quite a bit more than promoting to serfs. And like I mentioned last time, I want to be a little bit more stringent on who I'm going to upgrade. So I'm thinking that level 1, or unemployed level 1, should be serfs. But we can start looking into maybe upgrading our level 4s to becoming commoners, at least. So let's try, let's upgrade a few here. Antonine, you can become a commoner. And Stephen, the builder, you can be a commoner. And one more. Let's give Heinrich the forager a chance to become a commoner, so that we get to see what kind of upgrades they will need. But I'm not going to spend any more than that, because I want to make sure that I can accommodate their needs. And the first need being clothes. If we close in here now on our villagers, if we go, for example, I know that Kunigard is level 4, so she's now a commoner. She has the need for goods, which are specifically clothes. And also, you can see they have a more fanciful housing requirement, which means that their housing now will have to be upgraded to be able to accommodate their needs. But housing sorts itself out as long as there's enough goods to go around. So I'll be focusing in on the clothing line, if that's the correct way to say it. I guess it's the clothing chain line. And that starts first with cotton, which we get, with wool, which we get from the sheep farm. So the sheep farm is a production building, and it's going to cause negative desirability. So I'm going to plop that out here on the outskirts of town. I think that's suitable. And that way, also, once I set up a wall here, it's sort of on the outside of the little village, and I think that's fitting. I don't really want my sheep running around downtown. It's going to be too much havoc. And we can also consider looking into building the next part of our clothing value chain. The rustic church is now complete. Yay! There you go. Looking splendiferous. Splendorous, I guess, could be a better way of calling it. And but with the church done, that means we can focus our builders on getting this wooden keep up, because we want it done and dusted, and we are missing simply one plank to get it done. So let's get that done, and then we will get the sheep farm done, and we can start looking into getting a weaver up and running, which will be the step after the cotton. We'll need the weaver here to make cloth, and once the cloth is in place, we'll finally need a tailor who can sew it all together into cloth. And polished stone, I am guessing we now have access to, there you go, the stonemason. This is definitely something we need, and I'm going to plop that in the back here. I want to save this for the keep, so I'm going to put you nice in the back here, like so, because the stonemason will be necessary for a lot of these buildings. And when we overproduce on polished stone, we can actually sell that to Northbury for an added revenue, and that's going to be most useful. Other than that, we don't really have a lot of new necessities. Usually an emissary comes by every now and then to give us quests, but so far, as far as I've noticed, nothing has come our way. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that, so that we can improve our estates, because it gives us influence within the 3 estates. I think also there's not really a point in investing too deep in any of these other chains just yet, simply because we should focus on getting one chain running at a time. And I feel the most urgent chain to get up and running is clothing. So as soon as this wooden tower is done, I'm going to add another builder, because I feel it's becoming a bottleneck. We will be able to build up that tower and get the sheeps running. I think the reason why our builders are all over the place is because they are building houses for people. They're upgrading their housing, and it's requiring builders to build them. So this is how it looks like when the more advanced villagers rest inside their house. I guess they're just standing around inside their house, but while the house is down for maintenance, you can actually see the little villagers just chilling at home, stoically staring into the wall, watching the paint dry. Which I guess, by all means, we all have our hobbies. I guess some people choose to watch paint dry. That's fair. And now we're finally seeing Victoria getting her final plank in place, and Stephen is going to place that final hammer blow, making sure that we get our tower up and ready, because that has taken quite a long time to get in place. We are still losing money, but we are doing okay, I feel, so far on the happiness side of things. Make sure that we don't give people any reason to leave the glorious nation of Brightfield, because, let's face it, there is no reason to leave the glorious nation of Brightfield. Everything is great here, even the berries. I feel maybe personally I would be a little bit sick of berries in the long run, since that's the only thing I've been eating for the last 5 months and 1 week and 6 days. But, you know, who am I to judge? Some people just love those berries, and clearly the people of Brightfield, 89 out of 100 love their berries. Given that there's only 22, that's an amazing statistic of people loving berries. I'm not really sure why this is sort of lagging itself up. Maybe someone is stuck. Let's see, where is Steven? Steven is working right there. He is plodding along. I'm going to keep an eye on Steven. He's assigned to this construction. Let's see if he can finally get around to building the building. He's going to just get up nice and close to Victoria here and make sure that the construction of the wooden keep goes well. I feel there's... Hopefully this sorts itself out, or maybe we're experiencing a glitch here. I really hope that that's not the case. Let's speed things up. Let's see if it solves it. Ah, there you go. Yeah, so they're actually doing it. It's just taking its time. But let's not speed things up too much. I know, Steven, I'd be in the need for clothes as well, but unfortunately we don't have access to clothes just yet. Not until our sheep farm is ready to roll, and that won't be done until I get my keep. Let's follow Antoine. Antoine, my main man. Let's see you get that final hammer strike down on that building. Oh, I saw the emissary fly by on his fancy hat. But I'm just really stoked for this tower to be done. Come on, Anton. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. It's taking a sweet time. All right, fine. Let's talk to the envoy. Hello, Mr. Envoy, and your fancy letter. My lord, we need to choose who we want to help. Do we assist the king for 5 bread, the clergy, or the people? So bread is another chain that I would require quite a bit of an investment, because I would have to get the wheat farm, which then has to be turned into flour in the windmill, which then has to be baked into bread. So it's going to be 3 building chains, or buildings in one chain, that I need to get up and running. And we've all seen how long Antoine takes to bring the goods to the build site and get things up and running. But I mean, we could consider risking it. Another way of solving the issue would be potentially to trade. However, the only way I could get any bread would be trading with Davenport, who requires bread to unlock. So I don't see any escape that route. So we could consider risking it. We could consider hoping that we can get that quest line up and running. But I think I'm gonna let it chill just for now, just because I know I really want that bread. No, sorry, that clothing line up and running, and things are just taking too long. So I'm gonna keep it all to myself. I think let's keep it safe for now. But I promise the next emissary I will help out. I just want to make sure that my people get clothes on their back before we start giving bread out to random emissaries in their countries. Really, this is really taking its time. That tower, wow. Alright, let's see here. So we got Jane and Amalia, who are unemployed. We should probably give them something to do. I am thinking maybe that we should look into maybe some more wood. That we are consuming wood by the tonnage here. Are we trading some of those planks away so we can earn some money? No, we are not. We should probably do that. All right, let's sell everything above, let's say 30. Make sure we have a nice buffer here. Get some money from that. We're also selling our berries. We're buying tools, and we're not selling off our wood, which is good because we need that wood to make sure that we have enough produce to go around for production. let's look at what else we can assign people roles to. I know we'll need at least one shepherd once this is done, and I know we'll also need a weaver and a tailor. But I think by that time we'll have had more immigrants. So I'm going to put one of these as a forager, so we get more berries gathered. And then Jane will be our shepherd once that once that production line is up and running. So I'll just assign her as a shepherd right away, just so I don't forget it later. The wooden keep, Steven this time. Come on, Steven. I'm rooting for you, Steven. You got this. And look at this house. Look, it's upgrading. It's going to look so nice. So this is going to be all fancy-like. Max capacity 6. This is also 6. So it doesn't increase the capacity. It's just a fancier house. There you go. It's done. Look at that house. That's a fabulous-looking house. Nice tiled roofs. Little detail. Man, I love the artwork in this game. It's so cool. It's a smart idea to have the door out towards the water as well, so you have a nice view in the morning with your coffee cup on your way to work. You can look out across the sea, and you're basically sharing the same view as the Lord, who has his own view here. So they're doing quite well for themselves. Meanwhile, our wooden tower still is not done. Steven could not manage in time. This is really taking its time. Maybe Jean here. No, she's a transporter. She's going off to trade and sell things. She's probably picking up wood. Our woodcutters do not have enough area for wood, so let's get that sorted right away. Make sure that they have enough wood. And we can also clear all of this. And I'm going to plop this down like so. And clear all of this. That way I know where I have all my resource gathering. I'm also going to just clean this up just so I know that I have enough housing. It's fine. They're really picky. I'm wondering if this is an issue that they have, that it's not nice enough. So let's do that right away. I'm sure there's been quite a bit of balancing going on in this game, and so we just need to be aware that this could be something that we need to be aware of, that people have their needs cranked up on the residential side. So I want to make sure that things are pretty enough for them. And one of those things I can do, if I can unlock it, is the wooden gate. Where's the wooden gate? I know that's also something that brings up the looks in town. So I'm going to do that right away. I'm going to plop that down like so. Start construction on that. And the tower is done. That's great. Excellent. So, the kingdom has noticed your keep and might call on your aid in a military campaign. That sounds great. I shall think about training my soldiers then. So, with the wooden keep up and running, I can now actually assign more, or I could already assign more people, but now there's a reason to do that, because I'll be able to go into the military manager and take part in missions. And to do that, I will need at least 5 soldiers, I think, because I know I've received 5 swords as a part of that mission, like there. And so that will now, I want at least 5 soldiers to bother doing some of these missions. This one is extremely difficult, so I'll probably not go on that mission. But depending on the difficulty, we can send our people off to fight for Brightfield. I was also thinking, now that we gained some more influence, we could unlock the wooden wall. I'm going to wait with the large stone wall, just because I can. And I will build my little fence around the town here. I don't actually have to build it on the inside of the yellow thing, but I'm going to do that just because it just really... Seriously? Alright, so bring you in right here. And I'm going to delete you. Just got a wall going on that side. And we'll get a wall going like so. So one of the cool things about this wall system is I can actually turn them into curved walls afterwards if I want, if I so choose, which I do. Like so, like so, like so, and like so. Perfect. So, get some of these filters off, and this one off. Wait, where's the one? Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Let's get this off. There you go. So we got a little doorway this one on this side. I'm always wondering which way the gate goes, if anyone knows. But I'm thinking maybe these bars here should be on the inside of the wall, because that's where they sort of lock things together. It'd be kind of dumb to put the lock on the outside if there ever were to be an attack. So I'm thinking they should be on the inside. Then again, I also feel like if I were to press inwards, it should be easier to press inwards with the door hinge rather than the other way around. If the doors were facing out and they sort of the hinge stopped them from going inwards. But I guess, you know, with a ram, it doesn't really matter what you do. that gate would be blown in, so I guess it's up to you which way you want to have it. We'll put a gate up here soon, later, once we have access to. I just want the gate to be perpendicular, and due to the spacing here, we don't actually own this land yet, and I have to have it angular, and I don't want that. So I'm just leaving it as a gap for now. So let's just make sure that we aren't missing anything. We got our villager arriving here, and we also have a nice. So we have to make sure that they get something to do. Claude has arrived in town. Soon the sheep farm will be done. They just need the final hammer strokes there. Victoria's hard at work making sure that the sheep farm is up and running. So we are now going to look at the next step, which will be the weaver hut. And I'm thinking to put the weaver hut somewhere here near the town center, just because, you know, I feel it's these kinds of commercial buildings, it's really important to have. Just think quickly here. Could like plop it in here and have the houses grow around it. Actually, I'm gonna put it out here. So does not look good. I think that looks good. So people can walk around, and people have access there. That sounds good. The stonemason hut is now done, which means I can assign Claude to be a stonemason, which gives us polished stone, which is a necessity for our, not for our weaver hut, but for the tanner. Was it the tailor house, tailor workshop? Yeah, 18's polished stone. So we need to make sure we have enough of that. But unfortunately, there won't be any polished stone in the warehouse, and to be able to trade it, we will also need the warehouse. So I'm going to build another warehouse as well. I'm going to plop it down like so, just so that we have, I need 50 gold, so I'll put that in the corner just so I remember it. I don't need the wooden keep just right for now. Actually, can I rename it? Is that what I saw? Wooden keep. Oh, I can't. So I can call it Brightfield keep. And then later we can change it when we set up more keeps. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay, so do all of these rename? Or was that just Brightfield Warehouse or the glorious sawmill? But no, it's only the keeps that can be renamed, and the city. Does the town hall? Can I rename the town hall? The Lord Manor, I mean? Okay, we should start thinking about expanding the Lord Manor soon. So, speaking of, we were doing this. I could turn these curved, which makes it look a little bit nicer. Like so. And like so. And like so. Straight. Like so. Sometimes I do prefer the straighter lines, just because it sort of looks so informal, and I feel more militaristic right-angled lines are a better choice. But I'll leave it at sort of a in-between way of doing this. But I do think I want to, let's see, can I put a gap in here? Let's say select new node. Yeah, like that. I'm gonna put a gap here and extend this like so. And the reason for that is I want the woodcutters to have somewhere to go. So I'm gonna go like that. And that way they can actually go and chop down these trees as well. They don't have to walk around. So with that out of the way, we are still waiting for the gold coins here for the warehouse, and The sheep farm is done. I believe we already have assigned a shepherd. Yes, Jane, but we do need to spawn some sheep. Come on, don't abuse. Yeah, let's not... I guess you can pump this up, crank that up, and see how many sheep you can get, but I'll let it be for now. So those sheep are now going to be hard at work producing wool for me, which is great. We don't have any quests currently. And we are getting more people visiting to immigrate to the glorious city of Brightfield. If you have any comments on how you want this city to expand, by the way, you're welcome to say so in the comments below. I have still absolutely no idea what I'm doing, or I sort of have an idea what I'm doing, but I have no idea when it comes to the game. But I have no idea what I'm doing with regards to making YouTube videos, and no really idea of where I want to go with the city of Brightfield. So you're welcome to pitch on in and to give some input on what you think we should do with this city in the future.